Welcome to Handmade by Moonlight. Thank you for visiting my channel. Today I'm bringing a video to you for beginners. So if you have little to no experience with the crochet, this is the right place for you, because today I am going to teach very basic, very easy beginning material for you. And I'm going to go through some of the things that you may or may not want. There are things that you're going to need. So if you don't have these things, take a little bit of time with this video and take a look at what I'm about ready to show you, because I'm going to let you know whether or not these things are actually necessary, or if there's other ways you can just utilize what you have around your home, because that is perfectly acceptable, rather than spending hordes of money that you could be using towards the things that you actually need, like yarn. So, alright, first off, of course, the most important thing you're going to need is hooks. Now, whether you want to get Clover hooks, Susan Bates, or any other brand, you go right ahead. Get whatever you want, as long as you're comfortable with them. Okay, I just use the Susan Bates hooks because I like that chiseled end, you can see, because it really hangs on the yarn, and I don't like dropping stitches. So that's one thing I have learned that I like. You might like something different, and that's okay. Alright, we'll go on more about that hook in here in a while, because you can get all kinds of shapes and sizes. But today I'm using a size H. You can use a size H, I, J, K. You use whatever you want to use. But for me, I'm just going to use the H hook, because it's a good color for the yarn I'm going to use. So you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so scissors. You know, we're going to need scissors. That's a given. So you got kid scissors laying around. You got grandma's scissors in a cupboard somewhere. That work. Don't go out spending tons of money on those, but do make sure they're sharp, because that will make a difference. Okay, so this is a stitch counter, and this way you can keep track of your rows. This is a row counter. This way you're not losing where you're at, because if you got to put your project down, you're going to want to know how many rows you're on. This is important when you're doing bigger things that require you to be exact on the pattern. So I would actually recommend one of these to anybody. They have different kinds. They have these little round barrel ones. They have these kind. This one I picked up at Joann's. It was under $4, I believe. It works well, and I actually like this. But you can also use a paper and tally marks, and then safety pin that thing to your project, or put it in a bag, safety pin the bag to your project, whatever you can do. But you know, make sure you keep track of stitches when you're doing those bigger projects. Not necessary, but helpful. Okay, these are stitch markers. These are the ones that you use at the ends of your rows, so you know where your very last stitch is. And that's something you can buy, again, at Joann's. They're pretty inexpensive, but I'm going to tell you something. They're not necessary. They're not, because when you have a yarn, and you have extra yarn, you just clip off a piece. It's about 2.5 inches long, and you can use that as a stitch marker by pulling it right through that last stitch, and just, you know, tying it one little around it, you know what I mean. So that's something you can do, you know, something easy like that. Or you can just slide it in there and hope it doesn't fall out. I usually like to at least tie it all around that stitch so it doesn't fall out. So old yarn will work. These will work. Totally up to you. Okay, so here is a needle hook, or yarn hook, or yarn needle. This is for when you're going to be putting your loose ends into your project, into your work, so that they aren't seen. So these are important. These are a need. And it doesn't matter if they're the metal ones. It doesn't matter if they're the plastic ones. Plastic does have its advantages to where it does bend, especially if your crochet is pretty tight. But they do snap, so they're not that bendable. But you can get some that are pretty bendable. I like the metal ones, but I also have these little dandies, and I use all kinds of little trinkets around my house. They have a sharper end, and these are good because, and they're thin compared to these. They're really much thinner, as you can see. Skinny. Those are good for buttons when you're putting buttons on projects, because these will actually slide through the buttonholes, and you can get them different sizes. You can get little ones, much smaller. There's one in here, if I can get my little fat finger. It's almost like a regular sewing needle, except, I don't know if you can see, it has that big end, and it does take a little work to get that through, but not so bad. It's not that bad. So, these are important to have, and I just keep all my little loose ends. I either put them inside of my little stitch it markers, or I just keep them in this little tin and slide it right in my bag, and it's secure, it's safe. A lot of kids can't open these, which makes it nice. Little kids, especially, that way they're not getting a hold of them. Alright, so then you have your yarn. Today I'm using Lion Brand. It's something I had left over from the project. It is a medium, which I recommend for most projects. Unless you're working on something big and bulky, then go ahead and use whatever you feel like. But for me today, I'm going to use the medium 4-ply, and that's okay. You can use whatever you feel like. I don't recommend as a beginner to use anything less than a 4, because, well, a 3 would be okay, which is a lighter brand for like children. You'll find that in the baby section a lot. It's 3. But the 4 is really good, and it's easy to use. So, no need to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on some fancy yarn. Go and get something cheap. Go get some Red Heart. Red Heart's actually pretty good. It didn't used to be. I'm older, and I've lived through the Red Heart era, and they've gotten a lot better, a lot softer over the years. So, don't be afraid of Red Heart anymore. Alright, so I think we've covered everything on the table, pretty much. So all you need now is, I'm going to clean off some of the stuff that we're not going to be using. So well, I'll use it, but it's not right at the moment. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. Alright, so I'm going to leave this out, but away. Alright, so now we're going to start with some basic starting. We're going to leave a little, this is what they call the tail, that hanging tail there. And then we're going to make a loop around our finger. We're going to pull that loop up, push the long piece, we're going to push that through, hanging on to that at the loop end where the tail is. Hang on to that and pull through, and then you'll have that tail, which is good. We need that. And then you've got your slip. You've got your slip stitch right away. I'll do it again so you can see. Some people, you already know how to do this. That's great. Some people haven't, so that's okay too. So we're going to do it again. All right, and one last time, because repetition is a good teacher. Wrap it around to the top. Pull it up, hanging on. I'm going to go as slow as I can. Pull it up and through that loop. See how it's over the top and under. And then hang on and pull. Now you can slide that using the long piece, not the tail. The tail will pull it right out. The long piece will straighten it out. The short one will do nothing. It will just sit there. So now we're going to slip our hook right in there. I apologize. I'm having to look at the camera while I crochet, which is really pretty awkward. Alright, so I don't know everybody here and who's watching, but I can tell you when I was younger, I was told I had to hold this yarn. You couldn't crochet unless you hold your yarn a certain way. And it was, you have to wrap it around, and you got to hold that finger up, and you got to, and you know, it was super uncomfortable, and it was awkward for me. And I could never get it. I was like, I can't do this. I don't even, it's not comfortable. So here's what it is. You find a way that you like to hold your yarn, a way that works to where your tension is good. Tension is the tightness of your stitches. You try to not get too tight of stitches, or else it's going to be hard for you to work on. So find that. Me, I hold my yarn where I take my pinky, I fold it over, it kind of follows this line in my hand. I have fat hands, but it kind of find that line in there, and I just hold on to it. And when I need tension to lift, to let it go, the yarn, and bring it in, I simply control it using this pinky over here. It really is a way for me. That's how I do it. Don't have to hold it any certain way. Find a way that works. This works for me through the pinky. It works. I can have my yarn however I want it. My pinky's hanging on. All right, so now we're going to get started. This is your beginning stitch. You're going to take, you got your tail here. You're going to wrap that around the back. Okay, hanging on to that tail. Pull it through. See how loose, nice and loose that is. I'm going to do the same thing again and pull it through. And then we're going to do that again. We're going to make 10 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 10. It's not a very big project. I'm simply going to get you started to where you can do this successfully, because this is the beginnings of everything. Anything you make in life with crochet, this is it. This is the foundation. This is how it all starts. You will make everything using the single crochet. That's how it all starts. And I know there's newer ways of how to start things, but for me, this is the foundation stitch. And a lot of people call it that, and that's the truth. You'll make a sweater from this. You can make a bootie from this. You can make a blanket from this. This is all the beginning of how to get started. Okay, so now we're at 10. I'm going to make another stitch, because this is going to be our, what they call the turning stitch. This way you always keep 10. So you won't count that stitch. The 11 stitch isn't 11, that's your turning stitch. Okay, so now we've done the 11. Now, you're going to not turn your work because we don't need to yet. And now we're going to just go behind. Actually, wait, excuse me. We're going to, I was going to go right into a double. We're not going to use this stitch. This one, the one we just did, number 11, not going in. We're going to go into the next one and go in. And we're going to pull it through. Pull through, just like that. And then we're going to do that again. Go right through that. It's kind of a loop. It's like an eye in the middle. It's kind of right in the middle of those. And then you're going to pull it through. And you wrap it around again. Pull it through both loops. Okay? Okay, so let me get away from here a little bit more. I don't know if white would be better for a background. When I get my new camera, things are going to improve much. I'm really hesitant about even making this video because I am using my iPhone. And even though it has a good camera, I don't feel like what we need to do with it is that good, but we're going to try. All right, so right now we're at, count these tops. See how the top has a circle or a hole in them? And they're kind of, I don't know, kind of a loop. So we're going to count those. 1, 2, 3, and then this one is 4. So we've done 4. So now we're going to go into the next little, pull that through, wrap it around once more, pull it through, okay? Go in, pull that through, wrap around, pull it through. Now we don't wrap around these ones because this one is our wrap around. That's our beginning, okay? So now I go into this one, pull it through, and we're going to finish it. Just pull it through. Go through there, pull it through, wrap around, go finish it. Okay. Now I go in, got one stitch left after this. Pull it through, finish it. There we go. Now we got one last one. This is number 10, and I'll count them so we can see. Okay, pull it through, wrap it around, finish it. Okay, so that's the 10. Let me show you how to count these. I'm going to pull that loop up so we don't have it falling out. All right, so let's see if I can get the camera to show up here. Okay, so to count your stitches, now we know we did 10, right? It's a little hard to see these stitches, so I'm going to show you. I'm not going to count this one because it's kind of out here. That's that 11th stitch. That's a turning stitch. So we won't worry about that guy. But we will count these. Hang on, let me get at something I can show it to you without my fingers getting in the way, because I got chubby little fingers that like to get in the way really easy. I want you to see, sorry about the movement, guys. I had a surgery some years ago, and it's left me feeling swollen and bloated, and I've gained a lot of weight because I've been not moving around as much as I used to. Okay, so bear with me here. All right, so this is how you count your stitches. You're going to look in here, and you're going to see these little loops. They're a little hard to see, but you get used to it. So you want to count this little guy right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Turned it on me. And then there's 10. So we have 10. So that's right. We got our 10 stitches. And we don't have to worry about it because we've got all our stitches. Another way is you can count posts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There's the last post right there. These are the posts. These in between. You got the stitches that come down, and then you got stitches over the top that go this horizontally, and then you have the stitches inside that are vertical. So those are the posts. 1, and you can see they kind of run this way and the yarn over the top. So that's a good way to remember to count them too. And I find that way is a little bit easier. Other times not so much. So you really have to look at the top and try to remember that you don't want to count this little loopy dude, but only the ones that are up here. And you can kind of see where they connect to the next one. And those are the top stitches. So just remember, that's one way to do that. So there you go. You have that. Now, what you can do, you can look at the video again and pause it and run through it again, or pause and just keep going. Or if you're getting it, just keep going. This, you can even make it longer if you want to. This is actually a good size for a baby or a child's thin scarf. Or you can pull that out, and start all over using my video, except increase your chain to, let's say, 15 or even 20, and then just keep going with your single stitch and make a scarf. Or you can go 20 across and make a dish rag. It's up to you. Or a washcloth. This kind of yarn isn't really that good for dishcloths and bathing, but it's a square. It's something you can do, and it is something you can make a blanket, the beginning square of a blanket. And once it gets to be exactly a square, cut and tie. So I am going to show you how to weave your ends, but I am going to do another couple of rows of single crochet with you, just to make sure that you have what you need and you're feeling pretty confident. This picture, I know, isn't rocking it, and I'm doing my best. Okay, so we have 10. We counted. Now we got to crochet that one extra. I'm just going to get that little tail out of the way and keep that guy. You don't need him anymore. He's just to hang on to in the beginning. There we go. I got him again. It's really hard to... There we go. Okay. I think I can back this up. Whoop, sorry about that. I think I can back this thing back up. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So now you've got your extra... stupid tail. All right, so the tail will come out of the way here eventually. So we're going to crochet that one extra. Now we turn. Now you have to turn your work, okay? You got to remember to turn your work. Crochet the one and turn your work. Okay, so now you remember, we're not going to count that guy. He doesn't matter. Now we're going to go through both loops on top. There's 2 loops. You're going right through the middle. And you're going to pull that yarn through, go back around, and then finish it off. Both, see how you're in between? There's this hole. That's your loops. See the 2? You're going to go pull that through and finish it off. And you're going to do the next one. This is your 3rd one. Finish it off. Go back through. Pull it up. Go around. Finish it off. Go through. Pull it through. Around. Finish it off. Go through. Pull it through. Go around. Finish it off. Okay, so that's pretty much how you're going to keep going, because that's exactly how that's going to work now. Remember to turn your work. So I'm going to go ahead and crochet along for a bit, and but I am going to have you do a few, like 5 more rows, okay? And then I will show you how to cut and then weave, okay? So let's just do a couple more rows, because I think you guys are getting it. This is the easy part. So you've made your chain, you chained one single crochet, you've turned your work. You're going to go through that first one and pull it through. Next, pull it through. 2. 3. Oops, I got a little snag in there. That's okay. Okay. Let me see, we were on here. 3. All right. Let me show you how to use that yarn stitch marker, okay? So this is your last. Okay, let's get over here. I'm going to crochet that one. This isn't really, don't really need this yet, but we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take this last stitch down here, the end of the work that we're not to yet. I'm going to slip my hook right through there. Make sure it's the 10th one and not that 11. And I'm going to take that yarn just on the, not the whole thing, but just the end. I'm going to pull it through that hole there. Now I've pulled it through. I'm going to leave it just like this. Just like that. That's your 10th one, okay? So that way you know where your last stitch is. So you don't get lost, okay? Now, we've crocheted one, we've turned our work, and now we're going to start this whole process again until we get to our last, stitch, which is marked for us, so we can see it. I apologize because I'm trying to do this in a camera. I can't actually see the work as I'm working. It's kind of a trip. Oh my, this is... Okay, so here we are. Going through this one. Now, if that little thing, like it is right now, is getting in your way, don't feel shy about pulling it out or pulling it down. Just make it behave some, or tie it. That would also help. Something, don't tie it a knot, because then you have to take a risk in snipping that thing out and possibly snipping your own work that you're wanting to stay together. I'm just going to hold it down because we're almost there. Alright, then we have this last stitch. So I am going to take that little guy out, just slide them back out. He's gone, done. There he goes. Now we're going to just pull that right through and up and done. So you have already done, let's see if we can figure out the rows. Okay, so here's your starting chain. There's your first, here's your second, your third, and your fourth. That's 4 that you've done. And that's including the starting chain. If you want to call it the other way, it's 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 rows. You don't need to count the starting chain, but you did that row, so we're going to say yes. So you have 1, 2, 3. 3 rows. And you can kind of see the pattern where the little nubs stick out. Yeah. Trying to figure. Okay, see the lines where these little holes are? Kind of see that up above. That's the stitches you just did. So there's a row. This is a row. This is another reason to keep this little guy handy. Or you can put, if you have enough stitch markers and you're just going to do 10, 15 rows, you got enough stitch markers, you can mark each row that you've done, if that helps. Do whatever you can to help yourself when it comes to starting. Because once you get it and you figure it out, and there's plenty other videos, if this isn't helping you, by all means, please find another video that will help you, okay? So you can work on this as much as you want, and come back to this video and learn the other things that I'm about ready to show. There's no problems with that, right? So I'm going to cut my work because I'm going to show you how to tie it off. So I have my loop up here. I don't have another crochet one. I'm not going to turn it. I'm just going to end my work right here. And I'm going to cut it so I have 3-4 inches of yarn. And then I'm going to take that tail and I'm going to work it right through the center of this and I'm going to pull it up. And that ties it off. That's tied off now. That's not going to come out of there. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get our hook, or I mean our bigger one here. It's easier for everybody to see because I had it out already. All right, so that one needs to move. All right, so now we have our work. We have these tails. So we're going to take that tail and slide it right through like you would a regular needle on a thread. I find if you bend the yarn in half on the end, it's easier to get through there so it doesn't get all frayed, you know. So now we're going to take it right here where we're at the top, and I work it through this. Okay, first I go down through the top, okay, and I work it through each one of these stitches, but let's get it down through the top because right now I can't see well enough to see what I'm doing to help you. All right, so I'm going to just pull it through and down. Okay, now you see these ridge right here. What I'm going to do is go over under. Okay, got. All right, well, let's just do it this way then. This is going to be a. All right, so now I'm going to go back up. It's a little hard to see. All right, so I'm down here. I've gone through the top of the stitch, in through the top, and popped it out anywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to go through these little ridges that are here. I'm going to go in there and pull it through. And now I'm going to go kind of a different way because you want to blend it in as much as you can. So you just kind of work it in wherever you want to, really. But make sure that you don't put a lot of distance or pull it to where it's so tight that it's crinkling your work. Okay, so now you've gotten it. It's not really... Some people will tell you there's certain ways. Okay, that's fine. There are certain ways for other people. I kind of like my way because it's just easy. It works. Okay, so I've gone under all these stitches. Now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to come back same way I just came, except now I'm running out of tail, so I have to be careful. It's pretty short. I should have gone a little longer. All right, so if your tail's too short, go ahead and try to hide it the best you can. All right, now I'm going back through these same stitches in some fashion, only I'm doing it the other way. Come on. It's really kind of awkward because these aren't sharp, so it is kind of an awkward thing to do, but you'll get it. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be in there so it won't unravel later. Now for me, I'm going to go back up in the stitch right here, and I'm going to bring it back in this way. Okay, see how I just did that and it's up here? Okay, so now I'm going to go back down the stitch on the other side and pull back through. Now this is where I'm going to cut it off. My needle just fell off, so that was nice. Now I'm going to tie it off right here. When all you do is tying this thing off, you clip it. Just like that. And now pull your work. As you can see, it's not going to pop out. Nobody can see it. And it's good. Nobody sees that line. And that's it. That's all there is. And you do the same thing with the tail. You take it and you weave it in however you want. Come back. Same places. You can go in the stitches and go up and down, out the back, over the front. Just, work it however you can. It's a small swatch here. You can't mess up. You can't, but guess what? You can do it again because it uses so little yarn. So if you're using a really expensive yarn, don't tie off. Don't tie off. Keep going And then when you're ready to tie off, practice. I would say get another piece of yarn, make a little swatch, and then try it on something different that doesn't cost a lot of money. But for this, it's tiny, it's leftover yarn, it doesn't take a lot to practice. You can redo it, you can even take it back out. If you don't want to tie off, keep redoing it, and you'll learn it. And I'm going to do the stitching again, but right now I'm going to have to end this video. I'm not going to do this one because I actually am going to take this back out and reuse it. So it makes it really hard to do that when I've already tied in, but I'm going to try. So anyway, that is it. This is how it is, and this is the beginning of being unstoppable. As long as you have scissors and yarn, a hook, and the will to learn, and the patience to keep at it, you'll be unstoppable before you know it. And you'll be making all kinds of neat things. And as we progress, I'll start getting into more complicated. So I hope that you will like and subscribe to my videos. I know right now they're not real clean looking. I will work on that. I'm going to get a new camera coming hopefully Friday, and we can do more professional looking videos for you that are more clear, more crisp, and maybe even hear me better, I hope. Okay, you guys, you can watch this video as much as you want. Like and subscribe, share my page, let people know that Handmade by Moonlight is here. You may see my cohort, Denise. She may be here to show some more advanced stitches. She is a whiz with stuff. She learns a lot of things, but she's very busy, so she'll be here when she can be. So for now, I'm going to be doing beginner stuff, and then we'll advance into more complicated, and we'll do some projects together, and that'll be fun. Okay, you guys, have a good day, and just keep on hooking. All right.